Hello and welcome to the LCS Summer Split. I'm Phreak. Viewers, are you ready for the patch 10.12 Phreak Show? Good, because that's what you're watching right now. Notice how I didn't wait for you to respond as to your readiness. That's because we're moving on without you, or with you, I hope. 10.12 honestly had very little impact on pro play, but we're going to go ahead and cover the parts that mattered. First up, two of the biggest champions got nerfed, Trundle and Varus. Unfortunately for those of us who like interesting champion selects, neither of those nerfs mattered. Varus is still the number one champion in pro play, and Trundle is still the number one jungler. The Trundle nerf amounts to 10% less movement speed on his W, which we can promptly ignore. The Varus nerf is at least a little bit interesting. Lethality Varus is what's been the go-to build for several months now, and so in this nerf, his total AD ratio was nerfed on his main damage tool, Piercing Arrow. He also lost a very little bit of attack damage growth, which we'll mostly ignore and just look at the overall impact on his Q damage, because that'll get rolled in. It's worth noting that the base damage dropped by only about 5% here in the late game, but his further damage scaling with more AD dropped by a full 9%. Now, this nerf did have a very real impact on his solo Q win rate, and I would say that Riot did a very good job of tuning that nerf for the average player. As for what pro players are going to do, as always, I think they lag behind reality a little bit, but he still seems to be king of the four most sought-after AD carries in pro. We'll see if it happens at some point. Middle sticks, and to be fair, jungle fiddle sticks got a small nerf in 10.2 as well. As of this writing, the only player in a top 4 region to play Fiddlesticks is Bjergsen. So I want to hear all this yammering about NA is slow to pick up new champions because, well, it's not true. So, get better material, honestly, is what I want to say. Now, the LCK is always last to play on a new patch, so no data there yet for when I wrote this, but we have had a full match week of LPL and LEC, and no one is doing it yet. To be clear, Fiddlesticks is quite strong as both a mid laner and a jungler, and I would like to see him get picked up. His wave clear in lane is what got nerfed in 10.12, but that's still okay. He's still pretty solid in that lane, and I do want to see teams pick him up in the occasional champ select as a tank in the mid lane, probably as a bit of a mage in the jungle, but maybe more of a mix there. Now, that's it for the nerfs that mattered. But there were a few things that happened that were interesting, though. First of all, buffs. Volibear is the biggest one here, and man, is Volibear here to stay. He is a melee range, high damage juggernaut with reasonable crowd control and decent durability. You rush Trinity Force for tons of damage, and then you have two significant options to go from there. The branch kind of opens up. One, you round out your build with more tankiness through Thornmail or Spirit Visage, or two, you continue dealing tons of damage and you buy a Wit's End because attack speed is really, really what matters. You auto-attack the crap out of everything. As a small oversimplification, he's better in the early game when he can really dominate his lane opponent, usually a tank, and then he snowballs that lead through teleports or Rift Herald control. Now, his buffs also come through larger late-game health, larger late-game mana pool, and some other changes to his ultimate, making that better in the early game. Now, definitely, this is a huge pick to watch out for. It feels like we have a really, really good variety of powerful top laners to play, and they're not all tanks. It's a really exciting lane for me. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for impactful changes. Xayah got some small buffs to make her occasionally worth picking alongside Rakan. Senna is a stronger farmer in the bot lane right now, but I'm really not expecting either to make waves, as there's still that heavy top 4 AD carry bunch picking up all the picks and bans. That's it for this episode of The Phreak Show. I'm so glad you are ready to receive all this valuable information. And next time, we'll even have episode 10.13 out on time. See ya.